Many of the students featured in this film have requested that their identities be concealed. Nevertheless, the events you are about to witness actually occurred and are told by the survivors themselves. Good evening. I'm Roy Axel Coates, and in tonight's segment, I'm going to tell you how to be a superstar survivor at Thomas Aquinas College. I will lay out 4 simple guidelines on how to survive in moderate rain. Guideline number 1, be prepared. Guideline number 2, safety first. Guideline number 3, no matter what happens, you can always use more ditches and sandbags. Guideline number 4, keep things in perspective. In the event of a natural disaster, be sure to provide for the necessities of life. For example, cigarettes. If you are unable to leave campus to purchase them yourself, arrange to have them brought to you. More important than cigarettes, you might find yourself faced with the problem of procuring your own food. Here's the story of a real survivor who did just that. From what I understand, you are a piano player.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you still play the piano?
Well, let me just say, I found a new instrument.
I see. So when did you first discover your hidden talent for hunting?
During the flood, you know, when the rations were running low, I got really hungry. So I was walking down below, past the aviary. I saw those chickens. They looked really good. So I went in there and I tried to get them with my bare hands, but they were too ferocious. The sharp beaks, large talons. It's too much. But a couple days later, I got this baby here. It was a piece of cake. Showtime. piece of cake.
Ha ha! Devastating. Now, regarding guideline number 2, the most important thing for you to consider is your own personal safety. For example, avoid all mudslide areas. Hey, you're covered in mud.
Hey! Why don't you shut up and die?
And if you have to go hiking, take proper measures to prevent getting lost, such as bringing an Eagle Scout along. We brought the 4 of you here today to give you an opportunity to set the story straight about what happened when you found yourselves lost in the hills above Santa Paula.
To begin the story, we started climbing the mountain. Being an Eagle Scout, I knew that we shouldn't split up.
So, you're an Eagle Scout.
Yes, I'm an Eagle Scout.
And did you split up?
Being an Eagle Scout and a student at TAC, I have higher...
Hey, look, Roy. What are you trying to insinuate here? The point of it was one of the greatest experiences of my whole life, and I think I speak for the rest of us. I mean, we felt like gods coming down that mountain.
I'm sorry. Please continue.
Well, after lunch, we attempted to climb to the highest peak, and when we got there, we realized that there was another peak beyond it, and another peak beyond that when we got there. So, in any case, we didn't make it to the top, but we made it to a very, very high place, almost infinitely high. And the sun god in his chariot was kissing the sky with his rosy colored fingers, and I thought, perhaps we should turn back now.
So at that point, we decided to take the excellent advice of our Eagle Scout, and he told us that the best way to descend this mountain would be to slide down the 1,500-foot rock slide on our bellies. And we did. And we ended up in a canyon full of thorn bushes with no water because, of course, we had an Eagle Scout with us, so we wouldn't need water or other things like that on going on a hike.
Wait a minute. Isn't the Boy Scout motto, be prepared?
As an Eagle Scout, I know that it is. And you're correct in saying that.
So, would you say that having an Eagle Scout in your party benefited you in any way on this hike?
No, I'd have to say no. And furthermore, I think I've completely lost faith in the Eagle Scout Association of America to produce competent leaders and...
Well, wait a second. We're here today, aren't we? We got back alive.
Fair enough.
Well, anyways, it just got worse from there because as we continued down the mountain, we went through a cow field and were stumbling around through ankle-deep mud. I bent down and all of a sudden I realized I had lost my left contact.
So, how many merit badges do you have?
Just one time. I have 67.
So those are all like skills, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
So like, what's your best skill?
My best skill?
Yeah, your best one.
My best skill is probably basket weaving.
No way! You weave baskets?
Wait, you guys,
Yeah.
please stop talking about the Manny Lions Africa, okay? I really do not want to hear about this
All right,
anymore.
I'm sorry. We'll change topics.
Okay.
Did you hear about the party got lost in the mountains and they had to eat each other's frozen bodies?
Oh,
The
shut
Donner
up!
party? Did you guys hear about that?
No, I don't want
Wait,
to
oh my god, you guys, wait, stop!
What?
Oh my gosh! I think I just lost my contact! Oh my gosh!
Here, I'll help you look for it. I'll help you look for it. I'll help you.
Wait! You can't help her look for it. It's pitch black.
Well, help me find it! You're an Eagle Scout!
Fire, Eagle Scout!
What?
Hey, wait, you guys, shut up!
I
Look,
need 2
look,
sticks.
There's a light.
Was there a point on the hike when you felt truly unsafe?
Yeah.
And when was that?
When we reached Dr. McLean's house.
Which brings us to guideline number 3. No matter what happens, you can always use more ditches and sandbags. The fourth guideline is concerned not so much with the dangers outside ourselves as it is with the dangers within. Keeping things in perspective will prevent the onset of extreme boredom, cabin fever, loneliness, isolation, and insanity. I understand that you were affected positively by the crisis. Tell me about it.
Indeed, yes. The flood created me into a new man. I was once small and weak, but with the rain came confidence, a new day, when I was able to obtain my heart's desire. How sad it is that the floods have placed us in great danger. May I compare you to a rainy day? Butterflies. I can't describe the feeling inside.
What are you doing?
Tell me your story.
Well, the funny thing is, I never would have even talked to somebody like him before the flood, but the crisis really helped me to reassess what I thought was important in a man, and helped me to look inside of him and see him for the gem that he really is.
That's beautiful. Tell me more.
Well, from that night on, the relationship just blossomed.
Do you think we might be feeding him too much, honey? He's getting awfully big.
Dear, he's Daddy's big boy. He's gonna win the backgammon championship of the world.
Mama!
But things don't always work out that well. Here's what can happen if you fail to keep perspective. Let me get this straight. You were a student at Thomas Aquinas College during the floods of early 2005?
Yes, I was.
And how would you say that this crisis affected you on the psychological level?
Well, before the floods, I was a great lover of nature. I respected all her works. But since then, I have learned to abhor nature the way she abhors a vacuum. I have developed an irrational fear of water. I don't bathe anymore. I haven't drank water in years. And yet still I retain tons of it. I've spent countless hours in therapy trying to fix this, and none of it's helped. During the floods, I just went crazy. I did the typical things a crazy person would do. I killed small creatures. I squished them. I just don't like them. I burned things. I knocked over oak trees. Did you hear about the hacienda?
You mean the flooding?
Yeah, that was me.
Really?
Yeah, after that things kind of just fell apart. Yeah, that was weird.
That was a tragedy. But out of the darkness of the deluge, heroes arose, brave souls forged in the crucible of crisis, whose steely courage, overwhelming spirits, and gritty determination enabled them to perform acts of heroic virtue that will resound throughout the ages.
I want to thank you all for coming here. Now I have to be honest with you. Most of you won't be coming out alive. But the job has to be done. And it has to be done now. So I need some volunteers. Thank you. But I need one more.
this instructional video will enable you to face the perils of a moderate rain or any other natural disaster with the prudence, perseverance, and courage of a superstar survivor. Thank you.
Fair enough, Roy.
Alright. Good evening. Alright. Good evening. I'm Roy Axel Coates, and in tonight's segment, I'm going to tell you how to be a superstar student at Thomas.
I want to thank you all for coming here. Now, I have to be honest with you, most of you won't be coming out alive. I want to thank you all for coming here. I have to be honest with you. Don't
You're responsible. Finally, the fourth. Oh. Yeah, Finally, the fourth guideline is not so much concerned.
Is concerned not so much.
Sorry? Keeping things in perspective will ensure that the onset of natural diseases.
Hi, everybody! You're out of control.
Oh,
So do you think we might be feeding him too much? He's getting awfully big.
He's gonna be a football star someday, dear.
I think we should try again.